Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to talk about a really common but kind of tricky pain in the wrist and thumb. It's called Quervain Tenosynovitis. If you've ever had this nagging, persistent ache right at the base of your thumb, then you are absolutely in the right place.
You know that feeling, right? That sharp little jolt of pain right there at the base of your thumb. Maybe you feel it when you're just trying to open a jar, or pick up your kid, or even just typing. Well, if you've felt that, you're definitely not alone, and there's a very real reason why it's happening.
Okay, so let's get right into it. First up, we're going to break down what this thing actually is, and more importantly, what's going on inside your wrist that's causing all that trouble.
So the official name is Quervain Tenosynovitis. I know, it's a mouthful. But the idea behind it is actually pretty simple. It's all about inflammation. See, you have these tendons on the thumb side of your wrist, and they have to slide through this super narrow little tunnel, and that is where the problem starts.
This is the perfect way to think about it. Imagine your tendons are like smooth ropes, and they're supposed to glide effortlessly through this little tunnel. But with the Quervains, those tendons get all swollen and inflamed. So now, it's like trying to pull a thick, frayed rope through a tiny little hole. Every single movement creates friction, and ouch, that's where the pain comes from.
So you might be wondering, who actually gets this? Let's take a look at the common factors and the groups of people who are, most likely to end up with this condition.
While anyone can get it, it definitely shows up more in certain groups. It's way more common in women, especially between the ages of 30 and 50. And there's a good reason it's sometimes called mommy's thumb or gamer's thumb. New parents lifting a baby all day, or anyone with a job or hobby that involves the same wrist movements over and over, you're at a much higher risk.
And it's not just about repetitive motion. Other things can contribute too. The hormonal shifts that happen during and after pregnancy can make you more susceptible. A direct hit to the wrist can kick it off. And of course, if you have an inflammatory condition like rheumatoid arthritis, well, that can cause inflammation just about anywhere, including these tendons.
All right, so you think this might be what you've got. What happens next? Let's talk about how doctors figure this out. And the good news here is, it's usually a really straightforward process. No crazy, complicated tests needed most of the time.
A diagnosis really comes from two sides of a coin. There are the symptoms, that's what you feel. The pain, the swelling, how it gets worse when you try to grip something. Then there are the signs. That's what a doctor can actually find. They'll press on the area and find that it's tender, they might see the swelling, or they'll find that it hurts when you try to move your thumb against their hand.
And a huge part of confirming the diagnosis comes down to one really simple physical test. It's called the Finkelstein's test, and it is an incredibly reliable way to pinpoint if those specific tendons are the source of the problem.
And this just shows you how easy it is. You can even try this gently yourself. First, you just tuck your thumb into your palm. Then you wrap your fingers around it to make a fist. And finally, you gently bend your wrist down, like you're pointing your pinky to the floor. If you feel a sharp zinger of pain right along that thumb side of your wrist, well, that's a positive test.
And honestly, that's usually all it takes. Between what you tell your doctor and the result of that Finkelstein's test, they can pretty much diagnose it on the spot. You'll very rarely need something like an ultrasound or an X-ray unless they think something else might be going on in there.
Okay, diagnosis is in. Now for the most important question. How do you get some relief? Let's walk through the options. Think of it like a ladder. You always start with the simplest, easiest steps first.
So level 1 is all about the stuff you can do yourself right at home. And for a lot of people, especially if you catch it early, these simple changes can make a world of difference and might be all you need to do.
So what are we talking about here? Number 1 is rest. You've got to give those poor, irritated tendons a break. A special brace called the thumb spica splint is amazing for this because it keeps your thumb and wrist still. Beyond that, just making small adjustments to your workspace or changing how you lift things can be a huge help.
Now, if the at-home stuff just isn't cutting it, the next step up the ladder is medical treatment, but we're still talking non-surgical here. This is where you might bring in some medication or get some help from a therapist.
So here are your main options. You've got over-the-counter anti-inflammatories, NSAIDs, to help with the pain. A hand therapist can give you great exercises. But honestly, the real game changer at this stage is often a corticosteroid injection. Just look at that success rate, over 80% for lasting relief. It's a very powerful tool.
Now, for those really stubborn, persistent cases where nothing else has worked and the pain is just making your life miserable, there is a third level, and that's the surgical option.
Now, I know surgery sounds like a big deal, and it's always the last resort. But before we get into it, just look at that number, over a 90% success rate. So while it's not the first choice, for the people who need it, it is incredibly effective. And the surgery itself is actually a really clever, simple idea. It's called a first dorsal compartment release. Basically, the surgeon makes a tiny little cut and just opens up that tight tunnel we've been talking about. That immediately creates more space, so the tendons can finally glide back and forth freely with no more friction and no more pain.
So you've gotten treatment, whether it was a splint, an injection, or surgery, and you're feeling better. So what happens now? Let's wrap up by talking about what recovery looks like.
Of course, everyone's recovery is a little different, and it depends on what treatment you had. But a pretty typical timeline after a procedure might look something like this. After about 2 weeks, you'll start some gentle movements. At 4 weeks, you still want to be careful with heavy lifting. But for most people, by about 6 weeks, you're back to full strength and doing all your normal activities.
And this, right here, is the most important thing to remember. If this is something you're dealing with, the outlook is fantastic. De Quervain's is super common, and it is super treatable. The vast, vast majority of people get complete relief and get right back to living their lives without pain.
So this leaves us with one final thought. In today's world, our hands are doing everything. Typing, texting, swiping, working. This condition is a pretty powerful reminder of just how much we depend on them. So the big question for all of us is, how can we be a little more mindful and do a better job of protecting these amazing tools we use every single day?